the channel. It is your girl Alana Simone. So today I just wanted to get right into the video. We're going to be talking about too many voices in your ear can cause confusion in your life. And so I don't know about you, but sometimes people can maybe experience confusion in their life. They can feel like, they're maybe struggling being able to hear from God. They may be struggling to be able to recognize, his voice and who he is in their life. And if you checked out my last video, it was about when in doubt, ask God. And I really encourage you to listen to that. And this is kind of like a, just a prolonged version of that. But knowing that sometimes the confusion in our life can come from too many voices in our ears and too many people we're allowing to come in and have an opinion about our life. And so when you recognize that, you start to look at things a little bit differently and realizing that sometimes all the people we have around us is not the best. Like, we shouldn't allow just anybody to have an influence in our life, especially about some of the decisions that we make. Yes, it's great to have people that can advise you to do better and that can really, help pour wisdom into your life and just help you. But just taking any and everybody's advice is something we shouldn't do. And I think oftentimes people, may have friends that, they feel like, well, this is my best friend, but your best friend is out here sleeping with 50 guys, and your best friend is out here, struggling with a pornography addiction, and your best friend is out here smoking weed every single day just to eat, have an appetite to eat. But this is the one you let an influence in your life because now you told them you want to, start living for God again. But, so you like trying to tell them, it's like they can't help you if they can't even help themselves. So, one thing about it is we have to recognize what we're doing. Yes, people can be our friends. Yes, we could have this could be your girl, this could be your boy. But recognizing their place in your life and not allowing them to just have so much influence in your life. Because, one of the things is the people that we surround ourselves with can make or break our life and can influence us in a positive way or a negative way. And so if we want to be successful, if we want to maybe even start pursuing a relationship with God, which I encourage people to do, we need to make sure that we are being more mindful of who we allow to speak into our life and who we allow to have influence in our life. So if you are one of those people that want to break free from maybe smoking weed or break free from, living a reckless party life, stuff like that, break free from an addiction, you don't necessarily want to, talk to someone who still may be in that. Like, if you've had a friend that you guys once were in the same type of situations to where y'all smoked weed a lot, y'all went out partied a lot and drinking, but now you're trying to move from that to continue to communicate with that person and think that they're going to understand where you want to go now. They're not going to understand it because they didn't make that decision for themselves. You made that decision for yourself. So therefore, that you have to understand that just because you made a decision that you wanted to start changing, everybody in your life around you that you maybe once hung out with did not make that same decision. So you have to now make a decision to say and to reevaluate their place in your life. I'm not saying don't be their friend, but I'm saying evaluate where they now stand in your life, because you don't want them to now have the same amount of influence that they did if you're trying to make a change. Sometimes, in situations, we do have to cut off people that are not in alignment with what we're trying to do, because we don't want to allow that to hold us back and for them to pull us back into that. But it's us recognizing that, because sometimes people want to make a change. They want to start pursuing their relationship with God, but they still hang around the same people. And unfortunately, that's not the best thing to do unless these people are trying to make a change as well. If you are the only person in your friend group who decided that you wanted to stop smoking weed and stop going out partying and drinking all the time, and nobody else did, then unfortunately it's not going to work out trying to still try to fit into that friend group. You don't have to not be their friend, but sometimes it costs that if you really want to change. And sometimes you need to let these people go because they will hinder you from what God wants to do in your life. But you need to reevaluate, your friendships. You need to evaluate the level of influence that they have. Now, if you may have talked on the phone and went out partying every single weekend, then now that's going to change because that's not what you want to do anymore. And that's okay because that's what comes with change. And sometimes change can make you feel rejected. Sometimes change can make you feel, down because it's like, even if you don't reevaluate, sometimes your friends can just leave you and drop off because they're like, oh, you're different now and we don't really want to hang out with you, because there is no common ground for them to be able to relate with you with. There was common ground of weed, there was common ground of drinking and partying, but now there's no common ground because you guys have two different focuses and two different things that you're going after. You're now going after God, and that's one of the best things you can do. And what you can do now is separate yourself and be okay with letting these old things go, to be able to allow God to bring you into something new and to transform you from the inside out, so that you can now be an example for those who may have gotten left behind. And maybe one day they will see your life, your new life, and how you start to prosper and how you start to, just become a better person. That can now encourage them. And so sometimes what looks like us giving up, or what looks like friends are not, the same anymore, is actually a blessing to our life. And sometimes that's what happens when we start pursuing our relationship with God. And just know that it's a normal thing. We've all had to experience that. And it's not a bad thing. That's just what comes with it. When you want to do better in life, sometimes the old things can't go with you, the old friends, the old habits. And that's okay, because what you're creating is now a new life for you to receive new things, new friends, new opportunities, new qualities within yourself that will help you become a better person. And you'll look at your old life and like, what in the world? Like, this is what I wanted to hold on to so bad. And you get into your new life like, no, this is what I could only have dreamed of. And look at how faithful God is for giving this to me, because he allowed me to separate myself from the old and go step into the new with him. So just know that sometimes confusion can come in our life because we don't really fully accept the changes that are happening and the transformation that God has taken us through, because we're still allowing so many influences and voices in our life to impact us and cause us to make certain decisions. But when we separate that and really grab hold of what he's trying to do, then the change can start to happen. Then we can start hearing him more clearly. Then confusion can be removed from our life, and we can really start stepping into newness with him and new relationship with him, and it'll just be a great thing. So just understand this is what happens, when we start pursuing our relationship with God. Like, this is one thing that can happen. And let me tell you, it's very normal, and I want to explain this especially to someone who may be new coming into Christ and is like, I don't really understand this. These are my old friends. You may feel bad about letting them down because they, want to do different stuff. But let me tell you, in the end, pursuing your relationship with God is so much more worth it. And it's so much more than what your friends maybe could have given you, or what the weed could have given you, or what the going out and partying. Receiving God's love, receiving the fulfillment that he has for you, and allowing him to make your path straight is going to be far more better than what you could have ever imagined. You just have to stay the course. You just have to trust and believe that you giving up these things or letting go of these things will directly impact your future and making it better and making a positive change in your life, so that you can experience life in a different way, in the way that God intended it for all along. Sometimes the enemy makes things look like it's the best thing and makes us feel like we're missing out on, different things when we don't go out partying with our friends, when we're not smoking weed and all this stuff. We may seem uncool and stuff like that, but that's okay. It's okay. Let him make, he's going to always do that. He wants to convince us that sin and just different stuff is so much better. But in the end, it leads to destruction. And God doesn't desire for you to live a life that will, end result, end in destruction. He desires for you to live a life that you can prosper and grow in him and end up in a expected end with him. And so just know that today, just recognize that. I just wanted to talk to somebody about that today. If you may have been experiencing confusion in your life or different things, just know that it's normal. You know, when you are experiencing change, but it doesn't have to stay the same. You can receive clarity and focus by just removing the distractions, removing bad influences, and allowing God to transform you. And not trying to fight it, but just accept it. And sometimes in accepting it, you lose things along the way. You may lose friends, you may lose old hot habits, but you gain a new you. And that's the best thing that can happen for you. And that's what we want to happen for you. So be encouraged today, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.